There's still no official word on Northwest Premier Job Mokgoro's future. This as the ANC Interim Provincial Committee is set to announce a replacement today. Mokgoro has been accused of failing to take instructions from party leadership. And for more on leadership issues in that province, I'm joined by political analyst Professor Andre Duvenhage. Professor, good evening. Good morning. Sorry, apologies. And thank you so much for joining us. We don't know yet if he's going to resign or if he won't resign, but we hear that he may as well resign because there are no more options left. What is your sense this morning?
Yes, I must say I had over the last month heard the rumors that Mr. Job Mokgoro is going to be
It looks like we're losing that audio then to Professor Andre Duvenhage as we try to make sense of the story and understand whether or not the Northwest Premier has any options left, or is he going to, in fact, resign as he now finds himself in a very difficult position with the Interim Provincial Committee there. That is, and he's been accused of not taking instruction, as you would have heard our reporter Bafedile Muerane also talking about the difficulties that he's found himself under, especially in recent months, and the investigations that are still outstanding at this time. Prof, I understand that you are back now with us. Is he likely to resign?
I think at the moment the pressure is within the ANC and from the side of the IPC. I believe at the end of the day he is going to resign as a result of pressure. It will, however, be very interesting to see going to reposition himself politically with Supramamupelo. That is what some of the rumors was mentioning. But on the other side, the Premier in person told me about 2 weeks ago that he is not aligning in any way whatsoever. His job is to clean up the province, and he doesn't get the structures like the IPC and the ANC to do the job that he is supposed to do. And we must take into consideration that the province is under administration, making it difficult for a premier to do the job in terms of his executive functions.
So from what you're saying, I gather then that he is saying that there wasn't enough support to allow him to do what he had set out to do. But at the same time, there are those who are saying that he did not carry out the necessary investigations that he needed to carry out, especially at the back of the corruption allegations. They saw Hawks raiding offices, but he did nothing.
That is really a catch-22 situation. The Premier can have the best possible intentions, but if you cannot get the cooperation of structures within the bigger state administration, you are in trouble. My impression was that Mr. Job Mokgoro, without any doubt, wanted to bring about changes, but he didn't always get the necessary support. We need to take into there's a long history of internal conflict and infighting, and the strong men of Northwest politics are playing their own game. And it was from the beginning clear that Mr. Job Mokgoro was in a way marginalized. There were conflict with the IPC, and he doesn't have a strong support base within the structures of the ANC. That undermines his attempt to bring about the necessary changes. But I believe the intention was there.
Let's talk about what you think is at the heart of these battles, because others are saying that it appears to be a battle of resources in that province.
Well, I think that there's a number of factors that is responsible for factionalism. In the first place, there's a history of conflict, starting as far back as 1994, maybe even before that. second pattern of strong men, of which the best example is Mr. Supra Mohamopelo. But there's all like Nonu Malloy and others, and they are fighting for power, and when you have power, you have access to resources. Thirdly, the province is in a phase of institutional and political decay. If we just look at what is going on at the local level, that the majority of provinces, local structures, are under administration. Some of them even to the point that they need to be disbanded and new elections should take place to replace the councils. So the situation in Northwest is a very dire situation, and it needs strong interventions. And unfortunately, it was not possible for the Premier, Job Mokgoro, to align the necessary political forces to bring about these changes. In that sense, it's quite interesting. The scenario of Cyril Ramaphosa, in a way, on a national, is not fundamentally different from that of Mr. Job Mokgoro, although I think he has a bit of a stronger power base on a national level, but quite the type of scenario.
Let's then look at the three names that have been put out there and even interviewed by the president. We're seeing the current speaker, Susan Dankie. We're seeing MEC for Finance, Motlalepule Khosho, and someone they say appears to be a firm favorite, Bushi Mape. Which name are you leaning towards here, and why would you then think that that particular individual may be the new premier of the Northwest?
Well, I receive information quite clearly that the candidate already identified, and the name is Mape, and Mr. Mape has a certain background. He has 2 or 3 honors degrees, one in economy. He functioned in the student. He was on Robben Island for a time. I think he functioned in the economic planning unit of the province, and he is seen as a candidate that has the possibility to bring together the IPC and ANC. Another important point is that he is a close confidant to President Oza. But I am not that sure that Mr. Mape will be in a position to reconcile, to bring together, and to bring about the changes necessary. Because what we need in the province is radical intervention. We need fundamental changes, especially on a local government level. We need a big clean-up operation. And I am not that sure that Mr. Mape or either Susan Dankie or Khosho will be strong enough to deal with this type of scenario. The strong men in Northwest politics are still playing their political games. I think Supra is the best example, but my understanding is also that a person like Nonu Malloy is gaining a lot of influence and a lot of momentum. And the point I like to make is, if the ANC is housed in order, there's not going to be hope for stable government and that is the main challenge. It all starts with the ANC and stability within that.
And when you look at what is going to be the job of whoever takes over from, Mokgoro, be it Bushi Mape, as is being touted right now, the job is much bigger than uniting factions within the ANC and uniting the ANC with the IPC structure, but there's also service delivery issues that have caused those municipalities and that province to be placed under administration. So for the ordinary man on the street, it is going to be important for services to be delivered.
Bongiwe, you are 100% right. It only starts with the ANC, but that's a very important starting point to consolidate the ANC, to get decisions going, to implement Article 139 on its different levels systematically, to get rid of people that cannot do the job, the cadre deployment strategy that under the times of Mr. Supra Mohamupelo, to get a clean administration. If we're going to take their decisions, get rid of people that is involved in corruption, state capture, maladministration, etc., we are not going to take the province forward. At the moment, the ordinary citizens are paying the price of effective administration, and the situation are really bad in a number of local districts and local areas. In Stroom, JB Marks is probably the best scenario at the moment, and I can tell you also in this local structure, we are experiencing major challenges. In some of the others, it is complete decay with an inability to even deliver basic services.
I'd like us to listen to what the former Premier, Popo Molefe, has said about Job Mokgoro and share your thoughts with me as a final question here on the show.
The political situation is complicated. I don't know what Professor Mokgoro might have done, but I know that he has been a consummate public servant, and he served the Northwest with distinction until he was called by President Mbeki to go and help at the national government. I don't know what happened when he was sent back to the Northwest, what he did, and I can't vouch for anything. In my discussions with him, the sense I got was that his problems were the typical factional, caused by typical factional fights within the governing party.
It sounds like Mr. Popo Molefe is also alluding to those factional battles and all of that. What do you think then the future of Job Mokgoro is going to be? Is it still within the ANC, or is he going to leave the party together?
I think he has more than one scenario. He's already a person over 70 years old, so I think the option for him to leave politics is there. My experience is, however, politicians not easily leave politics. So I think he will probably continue in the one or other capacity.